Okay. All right, very good. So my name is Kevin Shortridge. I appreciate you guys coming. Uh, April kind of marked this as cutting through the buyer BS, which I love. So if you don't know who I am because I've been here for so long, I'll give you a little background. I've been here almost 20 years in Fayetteville. Um, Last week I told April kind of exaggerated, but I've negotiated over 4,500 contracts over 19 years. Uh, Always been in new construction. I've been a listing agent, buyer's agent, been marketing, a little bit of everything. Bill's been with me for 15 of those years. So been with me for a long time. So what I'm kind of going to tell you all today is not something that's I really don't care. Most of your trainers that you're going to deal with in Fayetteville, Raleigh, if you go to conferences, to me, it's not real world situations because they're not actively involved in what you're doing. So you pay all this money to go to somebody and they're going to tell you how they do it, but they ain't doing it that way because they're not actively doing it. So it doesn't affect you at all. So they give you this pie in the sky. Oh, here's what you do, and everything's going to be great. In the real world, it just doesn't happen, right? Uh, and I was a teacher. I was a biology chemistry teacher. So, with the saying, those that can't teach, I don't believe in that, right? I think sometimes in any profession, you can be taught the wrong things by the wrong people. Um, and I think that's what's happened to us as real. So the hardest thing is supposed to be getting your license, and that's a difficult process. A lot of time, money, stress. If you pass your test the first time, that's great. Second time, third time, fifth time, it doesn't matter. You're here. But what happens after you pass your test? Well, you're through. And broke. And even if you went out and sold a house the day after, or got a listing and sold it the day after you passed your test and have your car, you don't get paid for 45, 60, 90, 120 days. I'm going to be talking about some kind of real stuff in here, and it's just real. It is what it is. We've all been through it. I went through it, so I know. But a lot of companies don't go, okay, here's how you sell a house. Here's how you sell a house. Now, I'm not going to be concentrating on listings in here. This is buyers. Why buyers? Well, buyers are preface this by saying we're all salesmen. You got a professional designation. You can get letters after your name. You can get CSM, CSR, CSA, whatever you want to do. But at the end of the day, we call ourselves realtor. But at the end of the day, you're a salesperson. If you don't sell, you don't eat. And I don't know anybody in this business that would do it for free. Don't know it. If they say, the people that I do this, Bill's heard me say this a million times. I love it so much I do it for free. They're a liar, right? Or they've got somebody in their life that's making a ton of money. I'm in this to support my family. I'm in this to be successful. I'm in this to make money. I'm in this to change my life. I'm not in this to make minimum wage. I'm not in this to lose money. I'm not in this to stress out and never make money for 3 or 4 months. I'm in this to sell you something and you give me something in return. That's what I'm here for. Now, the process, I'm going to be professional, courteous, knowledgeable, honest, ethical. I'm going to do all that. But don't get it twisted. I'm going to sell you a house or you're going to kick bricks. I'm not wasting my time with you if you're not serious about buying a house. I'll incubate you, but I got to get paid. I can't go 6 months because you can't figure out what you want, or you're waiting on the market change, or you're waiting on rate drops, or you're waiting on price drops, or you're waiting on incentives. If you're pre-approved and you've got all your ducks in a row, we're going to find your house. I'm going to find your house quickly. That's what today is about. All right. Bill probably can attest to this. I don't expect people I like to share, but over the last 20 years, when I've shared, I would say 2% of the people even take a tenth of what I say and do it. They just don't. They don't. You don't have to, right? It's your world. You are a independent contractor. You can do whatever you want. You can do it all. You can do nothing. You can think I'm stupid. I don't care. I'm just here to say, here's how it works for me 20 years ago and how it's still working to this day. Uh, Real estate training is going to change next week. It's going to change next year. It's going to change next month. What I've done, I've not changed. And again, I've got a gentleman that's been with me 15 years, he's probably the most critical person I've ever met in my life. But I love that about him. You know, I don't mind honesty and bluntness and opinion. I don't. But I would say be open to test that at least half the stuff I see is true. So a little background. Biology and chemistry in college, played a little basketball in college, played a little bit overseas. Thought I was going to teach and change the world. Went to go teach in rural Virginia, where I'm from. Saw what they got paid, even though my mother was a teacher, and told me choose something different. Like teachers in real estate for that reason. I was in the car business. My wife's a year younger than me, so that year that I graduated and she graduated, we wanted to kind of present ourselves to a school system because back then, this is a long time ago. It was 28 years ago. It was hard to get a teaching job because back then it was a good job. You know, kids were good, parents were good, pay was not good, but you could overcome it because it was such a fulfilling. You know, my daughter's a senior in elementary education at Houston State and worried about it. These kids crazy. Uh, Parents crazy. Problem's not gonna go away. So anyway, I was bartending, and all these car guys would come in and have drinks after work, and they're like, "Man, you need to come sell cars. You need to come sell cars." I had a college degree. I ain't selling cars. I am not selling cars. So anyway, I went to sell cars, and the first month I graduated on May 8th. I was working May 9th. I was married. My wife and I got married young. We broke. You know, the apartment the size of this kitchen in there. You know, it was radiant heat through the ceiling, no air conditioning. You know, life was good because it had no bills either, so it was all good, right? You know, it's all. I grew up very poor in this southwestern part of Virginia, not the southern part of West Virginia. There's a difference, even though we're touched, right? I'm not from West Virginia, but grew up poor, you know, very poor. Mama started teaching when I was 10. My dad was a coal miner. But we didn't know that, right? It was all good. Everybody was good to each other. First month I sold cars. I didn't know what I was doing, but I could talk to people, and I'm honest and I'm blunt and sort of I made so much money in my eyes that I got my check at the end of the month. I went cash because I didn't know what else to do. Didn't know what I was put that much money in the bank. And I brought it home. My wife was waiting tables. She was still in school. A place called Fishtails Pigtails, and it was fish and pork. So you can imagine the smell. Right? It was good to eat there, not good to live with someone who like brought it home on her apron for the night. She walked in and I was sitting on her couch. Like you walked in and it was a kitchen couch bed in the back. So I can show you something. Took it back there. There's money on the bed. She's like, "What did you do? Like, you want to try to stuff? This is what I made." At that point in time, I was addicted to it. Right? I was addicted to it because it was predicated on what I did and not what anybody else did. So I did that for about a year, and then of course she and I went to teach and taught for 2 years. The hard part for me was I really worked hard in that job. I really love teaching. I love coaching. And when you see yourself working your tail off for these kids and you look at somebody across the hallway who's got 20 years on you and they're sitting there playing, this is how long it was, but Minesweep, right? Minesweep on their computer and letting these kids just do assignment after assignment. He's making way more than me. And I was driving a bus mornings and evenings. I was driving a bus to any game I could. I coached football and basketball. I drove the baseball and softball teams in the springtime. I drove volleyball teams. I worked construction during the summer and I taught elementary school, trying to make ends meet. I was just like, I can't do this anymore. So we found out we were pregnant with our second child. My wife said she woke up, she was crying one night, and I was like, "What's going on?" She said two things. First Notes version: we can't afford to have another kid in daycare as teachers. Like my whole salary is going to be going to them, and I just can't. Got you, babe. I'll go back to the car business. So I went back when I was 24, and by 26, I was sales manager. Started out financing and sales, trained for the family dealerships, and God, Brennan was 5, so I was 20. Jesus, 20, I was 20, 30. It'll be 30, it'll be 50 this year, it'll be the 20th year. Our business could get shaky, right? We had a really good owner. Mr. Gatt taught me the right way. He sold out a portion of his ownership. We had that shady guy come in and started trying to cheat. I'm not going to do that. No. So January, managers of car dealerships, most of their money comes from bonuses, right? You hit your marks, hit your yearly marks, your monthly marks, hit all my marks. And they did pay me my commission check. Commission check was about 35-40% of my pay per year. So a little bit angry. And so when I went to the owner, and had work after he locked himself in his broom closet and called the police on me, I decided it was probably time for me to make a change. So I came down here. My uncle was here as command sergeant major, and he knew a guy named Larry Strother. Y'all probably never heard of Larry Strother. Larry Strother is one of the pinnacles of the new home construction industry. He actually is a pillar of the industry, award winner. He, Ralph Murray Duggins, Billy Wellens, Harold Kidd. These guys really started construction. Larry started barbecue. I came down, met Larry. Next thing you know, I'm selling houses. Selling houses. Started in June of the year I came down here and was $13 million producer from June until end of October. End of October, he took me into management. Fast forward, here I am. Larry's retired several years ago. Now I run a company for Jay Johnson. It's called JSJ Builders. I'm the vice president. When I came on board, we were doing 40 a year. We average about 140 a year now, new construction from Raleigh to Wayne County, all that. So I say all that to say, I'm not a trainer that gets up here that don't do it every day. I'm not a trainer that gets up here as a low performer, low producer. I'm a producer. I don't have my name on the signs anymore. But at one point, we were doing 800 houses a year. I was an agent. I was number one agent in our region. And I was running Larry's company. We were the number one agent in the world for ERA, 7 years in a row for money in units. I signed every one of those and negotiated every one of those deals. I've seen the best market and the worst market. I've seen the pandemic where everybody wanted to be a realtor to right now, you're probably thinking, what in the hell have I done? Right? You've been in it over 5 or 6 years, you've been through 1 or 2 cycles. So I'm here to kind of show you something, talk to you about things that will create success in any market. But you're going to have to be real honest with yourself. And I'm going to be real honest. We're going to get down to kind of the nitty gritty of this business. I might offend you. I might step on your toes. You might get uncomfortable, but I promise you, you're doing it because there's more to this than Facebook and social media and nice cars and nice shoes. That is a result of hard work and energy and effort and consistency. But there's a lot of stuff. And if I slip up and say words, just leave them out. There's a lot of stuff from the start to where you want to be or where you maybe are, get your goals. That's tough. That's tough. And nobody understands it. Okay. So we'll get started. So that's me. That's why you should or shouldn't listen to me. I love you, but I don't care if you do. I just want you to be successful, right? If you don't listen to me, hey, we'll see where you are in a year and a half, 2 years from now. First thing I want to tell you guys is you gotta be honest with yourself about what you do. Be honest with yourself about what you do. You're a salesperson. I'm told you, say it again. So what do salespeople do? You provide a good for a good, right? You can, like I said, you can put whatever you want about your designations. You can do anything you want to, but your job is to sell a house. Your job is to list a house if you want that. I'm talking about sales. If you do not have procedures, tactics, if you want to call them, you don't have a way to overcome objections, you will starve. Sorry. They'll take your monthly membership due. They'll take your yearly. They'll take your designation money, and you'll drive somebody around, and they'll take your gas money, your lunch money, and your time, and you will be broke. And you will hate this industry if you cannot find ways to become a salesperson. Agree or disagree, Bill? Agree. All right. So all these frou-frou agents out there that are fluff, they're going to starve. They're going to starve because you don't have longevity. You have to be consistent. I don't care what you do. I don't care what your niche is. You got to be consistent. You got to be committed. And most of all, you got to be pretty much an asshole. And I mean that. You really do. Because buyers, even with this new NAR, they're not going to pay you. Sellers will pay you. I don't care what lawsuit comes out. I don't care what litigation comes out. I don't care what rules change. There's not anybody in here selling a home going to pay not going to pay a buyer's agent to sell it, because then you're going to cut yourself out of 99% of the opportunities. So even though you work for a buyer, they don't pay you. So if they're not paying you, how do you think they're going to treat you? Think about that. You were working with someone who's not going to pay you. You're working against the person that's going to pay you. I'm paying you as a builder, right? I'm paying you 2.5% of the sales price of a home. So on a $300,000 house, right? You're making a little bit of money. Anybody want to do that math? What is that? Do quick math. $7,500. I don't know what your company splits does, buddy, but $7,500. I'm going to pay your house company for you to come sell my house. Your buyer pays you nothing. So first of all, you got to change the mentality. You work for them, right? You work for them, but they don't own you. They ain't paying you. They have nothing vested but their time, which who knows how they consider their time. You have to turn it in. What do I consider my time worth? What do I consider my effort and my energy worth? So that's your first thing. You got to do a little paradigm shift in your mind. So who is paying you? The seller is paying you. All right. So let's talk about the buyer. The buyer that you finally get, a unicorn, right? Everybody's fighting for a buyer. You got to understand, not many people fight for listings, right? Dog, and I understand why. A listing is a long, drawn out process with several ins out. But people that list and list well, oh, they do good. You know, they say listers last. Yeah, listers last. I would agree with that. But buyer agents live a good life. I'm, I was a buyer's agent. I love buyers. Now I'm a listing, still love buyers. Can't sell a house without a buyer. Your quickest return on your time investment is to have a bank of buyers. Yes, get your listings. Listings are long term, but your buyers will pay you more consistently and more steadily than any listing ever will. And you're not dealing with someone who's trying to get rid of something to move to their next something, right? Now you got to explain market conditions, sales rates, and price drops, the interest, and all that jazz. So we're going to focus primarily on, I'm not going to tell you how to get a buyer. Towards the end, I'll give you some ideas. I'm going to be talking to you about when you have the unicorn in front of you, when you have the cash in front of you, when you have the rent in front of you, how do you not screw it up, right? That's what we want to be talking, okay? So if you have a buyer, they're going to buy for 3 reasons, right? 3 reasons. They're going to buy it because they need it, they want it, or they desire it, right? It's what it is. Need housing, want housing, or desire housing. Well, that's a broad spectrum, right? You got to have someone who's ready to commit to that. So when you meet with a buyer, the first thing I would tell you to do is to create your expectations. Create expectations, not only for yourself, but for your buyer. Buyers think because of Zillow, Realtor.com, and Homes.com, and buyhouse.com, and lookatme.com, and all these places that are buying the information that we provide as realtors, and they sell it out to these buyers and give the buyer more power and knowledge. So they think they have power and knowledge. You know how Zillow, the estimates and all that do. So they think they have an upper hand on you. That's true. They can go find any house they want to online. They can find any house they want to. They can Google my address and it's not for sale. And it's going to tell them the last time it sold, how much it's sold for, who lives there, my address. I can tell you everything. So that empowers them to be wrong. That's just what it does. It empowers them to be wrong. So by the time they contact you, unless it's a referral network or something like that, they already think they're smarter than you. Understand? Already think they're smart. You have to be the professional. So here's how we do it. So 20 years ago, when I met with the buyer, I would always meet with them, sit down and talk with them about expectations. I would have a needs, wants, and desire sheet. How many times have you heard this? A few times. So I would take a sheet of paper, 8.5 by 11 paper, and that was professionally done. It was Microsoft Word, but it would have the date, the customer's name, right, their name, all this jazz, and then it would have a column that said needs, a column that says wants, and a column that says desires. I would never meet a buyer first at a list. You're setting yourself up for failure. If someone calls you and says, hey, I want to meet at 1234 Street. I want to see this house. And you say, great, I'll meet you there. And you go there, you're already setting the standard. Now, again, there's NAR rules and regulations now that you got to get everything signed, which, scares a buyer off. Not getting into that. But if you don't meet to go over your criteria to be a buyer's agent, why they should use you to just meet at the house, all you are is anybody that open a door. All you are is opening a call. It's all you're doing. And then they're going to leave, and guess what they're going to do? They're going to call the next agent, and they're going to call the next agent. All right. If they're serious about buying it, you need to set an appointment up in the most professional environment you can. If it's your office, if it's a coffee shop, if it's a restaurant, your first, when you date, and the first time you go out with someone, you immediately make an assumption on that person. Wrong. When you meet someone, when I got up here and started talking, you immediately said, don't like him. He's an idiot. He might be smart. He's got losing his hair, a little bit over what you're making all these assumptions about me, whether it's based on facts or your perception, right? They're doing the same thing to you. Okay. You're doing the same. Meet somewhere where you have control. Meet somewhere where that says, oh, this guy got out of the profession. They know what they're doing. You meet at a house you have no control over, especially if it's not new construction that you're seeing for the first time. You just see pictures online, you're going there, the same amount of knowledge that they have. They saw a house they think they like, in an area they think they like, they need somebody to open. You're going to go there and see it at the same time they do. So how are you the professional? How do you know what they want? How do you know what they desire? How do you know what they need? You're going there at the same time. If you've never been here before and you walked in, it's the same thing as showing a house. You're looking at the same time. I like that color. Well, I don't like those cabinets. That carpet needs to go. You're doing the same thing. You have no idea what they're looking for, and you're just going to open the door. Don't do that. Be professional. And if they're not willing to take an initial meeting, what I'm getting ready to tell you, they're not ready to buy. They're not serious. They don't want to buy a house. They want to look at houses. Right? Sit to me, yes, ma'am.
Do you think it's equally effective or less effective, like create like a video or presentation to tell?
I think anything that you do like that, set yourself apart from anybody else that call, I've always loved it. I've always loved taglines, be snug at home. The separation that you have to make, and we'll do this the whole time, we've got like a tangent. I'm fine with that. Ask questions. If they go to your company's website, all right, they're not going to Google you. They're not going to Google Kevin Short. They're not doing it. They're finding you through second, third, and fourth search options, whether that's through a house or a website. They're not going directly to your page. Your repeat buyer and seller. How are they going to remember you? How do they remember a house? Something crazy that stands out, right? Beautiful kitchen, fenced in backyard, pool, huge master, double shot, whatever it is that sets them off. They remember. Show it. They got to do something to remember you. I'm a huge fan of not a generic, but a personalized. Hey, Bill and Wanda, thank you so much for contacting me about 1234 Circle Drive. I'm not collecting information right now. I'm looking forward to the meeting. I wouldn't email it, text it. Emails are now. Y'all don't read emails. You get so many emails, you don't read emails. You read the one, you'll scroll down there, oh, you'll send me an email, I'll look at it. Other ones I delete. I ain't got time to go through 5,000 emails today. I guarantee you, if I look at your email, how many of y'all have cleared out all your emails? Thank you. All right. You get inundated with emails. I would send it as a text. I would. That's how we communicate right now. Snapchat, my kids, I don't have this stuff, but my wife communicates. My kids are grown, but still they're 23, 22, and 18. Snapchat, right? They don't even text on that. They take them. Like I'll text, hey, have a great day. 3 days later, I'm sorry about that. Dad just saw it, She snaps them there immediately. I've always said to communicate with my client the way my client wants to be communicated with. If I'm dealing with a 30 or younger, I'm probably need more social media way, or I'm going to text them. If I'm dealing with a 45 or older, I'll probably send them an email. You'll find out what that communication is. But the first one, I text. So everybody's listen. This thing right here is the devil and necessary at the same time. I hate and love this. I have never hated and loved something so much in my damn bottles of small. Because I'm old enough to know when these things didn't exist. I'm old enough to know when I saw somebody walk around with bad bottles. I came up with the Zach Morris damn phone is the Miami Vice. And Crockett Tubbs had one in that black Lamborghini. Sorry, uh, but we can use it to our advantage, right? When that thing dings, y'all know what Pavlov's dogs are? So I'm getting ready to I'm going to Dr. Phil y'all's ass today. Y'all know what Pavlov's dogs are? Okay, so Pavlov did this experiment back in the day. Yes, I read, you gotta remember biology and chemistry. He did this experiment on dogs, right? Ring the bell, feed. Ring the bell, feed, right? Then he stopped. Then he ring the bell, no feed. What happened? Dogs came over, they were salivating. They were expecting food. We are packed. This thing rings, dings, chimes. You cannot help it. You turn it off and it buzzes, and you're dying getting that damn phone because whatever is happening here is the most important. I'm so sitting last night. My last child leaves for college sometime else. Don't know where he's going to go yet. Hopefully he's in the NC State. I don't know. But I know that my 23-year-old's married. He's going to be 24. Jeez. He's married. He lives in Wendell, works for us. He's one of my project managers. My daughter's a senior. She's a paid guy that's got a feeling that he's going to be coming to ask questions here today. And I got 18-year-old Lee. I know that. And last night at 9:45, I was in my chair. My son was on the couch. My wife was on the couch. He was supposed to be doing homework. And I looked over. He's on his phone. She's on her phone. She's addicted to TikTok. And I was like, can't believe there. And I'm like, oh, shit, I'm on Facebook. I mean, it's just so bad. And we are addicted. They got this crack in them. Something's going on in these phones. But you have to use it to your advantage. You know they're going to look at it. So how much time does it take you to go, hey, this is Kevin, I'm actually out here in front of the 314 Circle Drive. And it looks great. I cannot wait to meet you in the office and talk about this house and what your needs and signs are. Make this a great transaction for you. I'm so excited about it. I'll see you at 2:00 tomorrow. Effort? Yes. Different? Yes. Find your difference. They're going to remember you. Not the first person they call, you want to be the last person. They call everybody. I mean, they're just, and what happens is if you do, most people are going to go, oh, 1, 2, 3 circle, yeah, that's 399.9. All right, so happens when you buy a car, happens when you buy a sofa, happens when you buy a house. So yes, separation. Whatever you can do to separate. Thin line between cheesy and so find someone that's you can trust that is blunt, find you a deal and say, hey, what do you think about this? And they say, no, gotcha. That's what I always, you're going to hear things today that are like little sayings that I had. These are all trademark. Try to steal it. Don't practice on your profit. Don't practice on your profit. Don't throw something out there that you've never done to a client. Because it may be cheesy as hell, maybe the best thing in the world. Practice on bills. Practice on cabinets. Practice on somebody that's going to be blunt and say, that's a great idea. Or we'll be honest with you and say, I didn't really like that. Why didn't you like it? What did I do wrong? Right? Send a video. You got a spouse, you got a friend that's blunt. How do you think about this? They're going to be blunt. You've got blunt in your life. Don't ask the people that go the yes men, ask them. Never practice on your profit. But if it goes good, that's great. If it goes bad, you just throw money on it. So there you go. Got that? So if you can get, not yet, and you set up your first meeting, you have this sheet with the date, their names, and needs, wants, desires. Just little columns. All I gotta do. Down at the bottom, you have signature and date. This is going to be your Bible with these people. Because what we're going to do is we're going to set up expectations and standards. We're also going to use their words against them when they start backtracking on what they want, how much they can afford, where they want to live, and most importantly, time to buy. All right. So when I would meet with the client and, I don't want to use Bill. What's your name?
Shonda.
Okay. Shonda. Thank you so much for coming in. Have a seat. We're going to talk. So you're going to be my guinea pig. I'll use Bill for some backup. All right. So I'm bringing in. sit them down. I thank them for coming in. I don't care what your spiel is. Don't practice on the profit, right? Talk about it. I don't care. I can talk to anybody. I appreciate it. I know time is very important, but everyone, thank you so much for coming in. And if they can't get there at 3 and they get there at 6, it just so be it. Real estate agents that say, I don't work past 5 o'clock, starve. You starve. When I first came down here, the reason I got so successful, Bill wasn't with me, and I was a salesperson. We had 2 or 3 lazy salespeople that leave their subdivision. This is back when open house was deep. This is before realtor.com, all of a sudden. So you really had to drive around. At 5 o'clock, they were A&E out the neighborhood. Y'all know what A&E is? Asses and elbows. Leave, y'all. They would leave and leave that, and what people were driving home, and they drive through. So I called Larry and I said, hey, boss, do you mind if I go in Jim Perkins, Ben Cheney, their neighborhoods, and sit in there for them? I don't care. You just came there 12 to 5. That's the time they're there. Gotcha. 5 o'clock, summertime, 5 o'clock, 9 o'clock, I'll be there. You'd be driving through looking at the windows. First house I sold was in a neighborhood, Oscar Pace's neighborhood. He didn't work in, he left at 5 o'clock. I met these people at 5:15 on a Saturday night, wrote the contract on a Sunday. He was bitching on Monday. Gotta, when you're working for commission, you don't work on your time schedule, you work on their time schedule. I'm not saying not to set boundaries, right? I'm not saying 10 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock, whatever your boundary is. But I'll tell you this, you can ask my wife. When this phone dings, there should be a cash register saying. I walked around Disney World years ago, the big ass phone, a big ass computer with one of the big ass cards that goes in there. So I wasn't missing nothing. Because I'm greedy. If I'm gonna give my time, I'm gonna make my dime, right? That's how I feel. So I'm going to be the most responsive person you've ever dealt with. I've had people say, I just sent an email. I don't care. Because if somebody else answers the question, like it kills me right now that there's text messages coming in. Kill them. Right? Kill them. But it just is what it is. So once you set them down and you thank them ever how you want to thank them and acknowledge them, right? I would say your first meeting, ask them not to bring kids if they got kids. You're asking some questions. Who's going to be coming to this meeting? I'll just meet my wife. Great. You have children. Yeah, we got two. Are they going to be coming? And he goes, well, I don't know. Babysitter. Great. You better have some daggone video games or video or toys or something in your office because nothing will ruin a deal like a carpet puncher. I'm just telling you, they will daggone take everything that you got. They'll do it. Those kids, oh my God, they'll ruin a deal. They'll ruin a deal so quick, they'll start crying, screaming. If they're under 3, they're going to have accident on themselves, they're tearing stuff up, get them 5 or away. Don't let them bring a mother-in-law and father-in-law. And I'll tell you how to overcome that group. I'll put them in pleasure. What you need to do is set them down and ask them what their needs, wants, and desires. Right? What questions do you have? Well, I see that you were interested in 314 Circle Drive. I appreciate that so much. The reason we're meeting today is to set expectations. Expectations that you have of me, I want to know, but I'm also going to relate expectations that I have of you. Both of our time is valuable. Everybody knows that buying a house can be one of the most stressful things you ever go through. You know it's the biggest financial investment you're going to make. My job is to do 2 things. Find you the best house that fits all your needs, wants, desires for the best price. The second thing is in the shortest amount of time possible. Why? Tell you why. This drags on for 6 months. You're going to start hating this process. You're going to start hating me, and you're going to start second guessing. I promise you that if we get a little bit into this, and I see that I'm not servicing you the way I can, and this is drawing out, I will hand you over to someone else because my main goal is to make sure you're in. Can we both agree to that?
Yes.
All right. So what I need you to do is, when I'm asking you these questions, is to be brutally honest with me. I'm going to ask in return. You have to be okay with me being brutally honest with you. Because let's say you're wanting a 5,000 square foot house with an in-ground pool and a waterfall and a basketball court, and your budget's $300,000. You have to be okay with me saying, I already bought it if it exists. Can we agree to that? Yes. So you get them agreeing with what you're saying, and you get them involved. Do you know that we're one of the top 10 frowned upon professions in the world? Like we're right down to what I used to do, attorneys and parking. Why? Because no matter what, people have buyer remorse. I don't care if you buy a car, a couch, I don't care what you buy, you immediately, because it's your money, go, oh my God, I hate this. I hate this. I just bought a truck. This is my dream truck. It is my 50-year-old truck. I wasn't gonna buy it till I was 50. But I got a deal of the century. I bought that truck. I've always known I wanted that truck. It is the exact truck I wanted. Just they changed over the years. The model was out there. I'm to the point I can buy that truck. I have got my children paid for college. I have saved it. I've done all the hard things. I knew that the guy called me and said, the truck you've been waiting on is here. I drop down, I look at it, I drive it, I fall in love with it. It's got extra things I didn't even want on it. Then he's a buddy of mine. He gives me a number because I'm a car guy, so I know car numbers that I can't. Like I told him, I wish you would come in higher. I would not buy this truck. I bought the truck. My truck was paid for. I had it a while. Everything should be perfect. The next morning, my son, the truck's badass. Somebody, I let pop off truck and just like, anyway, you couldn't have stuck me in my face with a hot poker and I'd been so upset because I bought that truck. I had buyer's remorse. I immediately did not like the truck. I immediately told my wife, I should have done that. She said, what are you talking about? Like, this is what you like. You don't do anything else. What are you talking about? You wanted the truck, you could afford the truck, you made a great deal on the truck, you bought the truck, and now you hate the truck. I don't hate the truck, I should have bought it. Same thing's going to happen in the house. Same thing is going to happen in this house. So they don't blame themselves for it, they blame you. Toilet goes bad, blaming you. The grass don't grow, blaming you. Shingles blow up house, blaming me or you. They blame us to trust. You can look at my Google reviews. I got a 3-star Google review. Every one of them except 5 are the stupidest. 5 little chick was screwed up. We made it right. It did, the rest of them, they just going to believe it, right? So you have to set expectations. Expectations. So I'm going to tell you, man, my job is to find you a house in the quickest amount of time possible that checks all your boxes. Now, here's the question. If we went out tomorrow and every box that we're getting ready to talk about is checked, are you willing to put an offer in and buy that house that day? Tomorrow, we find it. Are you willing to do that?
Yes.
Perfect. Let's get started. If they say, I don't know, and they're looking at each other, the husband, wife, no matter, they look at each other, you need to ask some questions. Does everybody understand that? They may be 6 months away. They may not have their pre-approval. They may not have their cash down. They may not have orders. They may not have started a job. Okay, those are reasons not to buy. There's objections, then there's reasons, right? Objections we should be able to overcome. May not buy the house. You can overcome objections. You can't overcome reasons. You don't make enough money, you don't have your job, you don't have your orders. There's all kinds of reasons, right? And there'll even be reasons if you're in this long enough that you're under contract and something happened that don't buy. There's stupid objections and then there's true reasons. And you're in it long enough, you're going to have some stuff that happens that's just is what it is. It's hard, it's what it is. So if you tell me yes, we're going to start that process. We're going to go through the sheet I'm going to talk to you about. If you say no, I'm going to pull that sheet back. I'm going to say, man, you're sitting in front of me, so obviously you want to buy a house. But if you just told me that if we find the perfect house that fits your budget, everything you're dreaming of, that you're not going to buy that, I've got to understand why. Because before I waste your time and my time, both precious time. Before I do, I'm really good at what I do. And I'm going to be very thorough. I'm going to show you things that fit this. But if you're not committed to buying that house, it's all for nothing. So I need to understand why. And you listen. I don't have my pre-approval. Why don't you have your pre-approval? Have you talked to my mortgage company? Well, I don't have my orders yet. Okay, when do you think you're ordering when you come through? What's the timing on it? I haven't started my job. When do you start your job? So we got to have 2 pages. Or are you transferring from one job to another that's in the same field? They don't know what they don't know. They'll Google it, right? But Googling something is the stupidest thing you could ever do, right? You get the sniffles and you Google it if you're dying tomorrow, right? Same thing in anything else. You're going to see the good, the bad, the truth and the fiction. They don't decipher that for you, right? They don't decipher that for you. They just put it all out there, right? Find out why. Then you have to decide as the professional, is it worth proceeding or do I incubate them? It is okay to say, I just don't think y'all are ready to buy. Here's what I recommend. I'm still going to do this sheet with you. I'm going to put you every week. I'm going to search the MLS for these houses while you're working on whatever they're working on. Some of it could be quick, some of it could be long term, but I need money 6 months from now, just like I need money 45 days. I need money a year from now, right? You start getting people incubated and want to buy, you're really successful. Find out why. So I'm going to send you every week. I promise you. Now you're going to have to set. You're going to, if you have a couple of these clients, you got to set aside time. Every Friday, when you go into the weekends, so I'm like disrupting your week. I'll send you maybe 5 to 10 listings that kind of fit this, just so you know what, this will keep you up to date on the market. So if prices are going up, if prices are going down, I'll send you some mortgage stuff. The rates go up, the rates go down. We'll keep you informed so that when you are ready, I'm going to be calling you, we're going to be working you to this approved or to your, that when that time comes and we are ready, we're ready to strike. We're not in a research phase. We're in a go out and find things, right? Because if you start all over, and then and if you don't do that, they're going to go find somebody that we, all right. So that's what I call my tier group. That's the one that want to buy, and for whatever reason can't buy in the next 60 to 90 days. They're a 90 to a 150, 180, right? They're a 6 month out. Your C buyers, got like a 320, no job, haven't moved here, don't, what are you doing? Like, you shouldn't be buying a pack of gum, much less trying to buy a house. And there's people out there like that. Those are my C. I do them a different way. My A buyers go, exactly what you said. Absolutely, I'd buy that house. Great. Let's find out what you're looking for. Needs, wants, desires. You have to categorize this. So what I will tell you is always be the pro. Control the conversation. Control the conversation. Don't let them control. You always ask yes or no questions, open-ended questions, things that you don't want to procure a conversation while you're collecting information, right? Conversations when you're at the house, or if you're comfortable with them riding with you, back in the day, we could let people ride with us. And that was really a great time for me to like get to know them and talk really here, because people get real honest when they come out of a house. If you're in separate cars, which you totally get, safety, whatever it is, they get in the house and they start trashing you or the house. I mean, that's just the way it is. Plus, if they're in the car with me, I used a couple of sales tactics we'll talk about at the end for them to be, oh, why is he doing that? Right? We want them to think. We need to create a sense of urgency with them because we know it's an urgent market. Right now, it's an urgent market. Again, here we go. Understand that if rates drop like everybody wants them to drop, I'm going up on every single house that I'm building by at least $20,000. Your buying power will not increase on a new home. If we're a small builder, I mean, we're tiny, we're not thousands and thousands. You don't think that these builders that for the last year and a half have been giving away 10, 15, 20, $30,000, their profit has shrunk by double digits. You don't think that when they can, they're not going to make as much money as possible? Buyers who are not buying now will regret it. They're going to buy at the lowest price possible right now with the most amount of incentives than they ever will. Understand that. Bill can attest. I just did a deal in Collier Gate yesterday that I gave away $15,000 on a $329,000 house. The profitability is, but I've got to get that off my books. We got loans on it. Got it off the books. Now I have a number that I can't go above, but I'm going to negotiate with you right now more than I ever will. If you wait and the rates aren't going to drop, you're not going to, if we're back in the 3 to 4%, we're screwed. Like the economy, you don't want that. So people don't understand. You don't want that. It procures high cost, high inflation, elevated house prices. Right now, in a couple of my subdivisions, I'm $20,000 lower than I've started. Now, when a builder starts a neighborhood, he starts at a price and he does incremental increases. The lots increase in cost. When a developer sells me lots, he may sell them the first batch for me at 70, the next at 75, the next at 80. So you see increment. Houses appreciate. We don't want depreciation. How do they appreciate? The most recent sales. Most recent sales are predicated by new homes. New homes hit the market. If I stay status quo for 5 years, you not appreciate it. That's not an investment. Houses always appreciate on a 2-year cycle. You might have a year they stay the same. You might have a year they go down. You can go back and look. Houses haven't dropped 3 years in a row. They may drop and stay the same. They don't drop. The only time that's happened was when predatory lending was happening. The banks cause that because they give you a pulse. You get a loan. That's never going to happen again. Never going to happen again. 70% of all homeowners right now are in an equitable that's bought in the last 5 years are in an equitable situation. They're not going to foreclose. They'll sell their house and make money and roll on. They're not, if they can't pay their mortgage, they're not floating, right? They'll just sell the house, take their money, and roll on. So we're not going to see that. So you can buy a house right now for $20,000 less than I want it to be, and I'm going to give you money. So you're probably going to come to closing with no money out of pocket for your closing costs. Maybe a refrigerator, maybe blinds. I don't know what you're going to get out of that. You're going to come to, that's what you're going to get. These rates dip into the fives. Understand that everybody is waiting on the fence because they know even the naysayers will say it's not going to get back in the force. If it comes out and it's 5 point, no. You can put a million out. Understand all hell is going to break loose. Buyers that have been on the fence will buy. It may have only increased their buying power 0.5% by $15,000, $20,000 at most. Well, guess what? I'm raising my houses. I'm not dumb. I do this for a living. Pretty successful. What am I going to do? I'm going to see what the average buyer could afford at 6.5, and I'm going to raise my price if they're at 5.9. I'm going to make my money back. And guess what else I'm not going to do? I ain't giving you nothing. And on top of that, you got 3 people wanting the same house. That's what's going on. The market we're in is fair. It's fair to the builder. Builder's not making an exorbitant number, or you can say selling that. They're not making more than they should. The seller's not selling the house for more than they should. The buyer's not paying more than they should. It's all based upon interest rates. People don't understand that where we're at in North Carolina was one of the most cost-effective markets. We are 15 years behind the nation in house prices. Understand that. You all know if you've dealt with military buyers coming from Colorado, they get here and they see what they can get. They're like, what? Are you kidding me? People coming from up north into the Raleigh market. They're like, what? So we're just historically, we call this as realtors if you've been in it more than 5 or 10 years. Again, go back to Bill. Our agents have been here. The worst agents you can have is someone been in it for 10 years or more because they swear it's 10 years ago. Well, 10 years ago, I wasn't giving granite in every house. 10 years ago, every house had 8-foot ceilings. Now most of them have 9. 10 years ago, we weren't giving anything away. So there's goods and bads. So understand if you can convince your buyer that it's the best time to buy now with historical data, you're just going to sit on them. Okay. Right now, it's the tangent. Right now. And over the next, I would say 8 months. I don't think anything's going to happen in the summer's bigger fish to fry in this country. I think they'll keep them in mid-6s. You may see them drop low 6s. They may go up to high 6s, right? 6s is where we're going to be. Prices are going to stay stagnant. Incentives are going to kind of be the same. Buy the house. Because when it turns, as soon as the big boys turn, I'm turning. I can't pull my incentives off if the big guys are having incentives, mostly in the northern market. But as soon as they turn their faucet off, I'm turning mine on. I'm trying to make some money back in this company, right? A lot of money invested in it. A lot of money to run. Got to make money back. Got that? But that sense of urgency. All right, so man, we've decided that you are ready to buy. You would write an offer. So now my job is to find that house for you in the shortest amount of time possible. Is that correct?
Yes.
See, well, I'm giving them the correct. This is head nodding, doing. I'm Dr. Filling your ass. Dr. Filling your ass. DPA. You hear me say it all the time. The DP agent. You got to get them to understand that this is where we're heading. That you are able to. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go over what you need, what you want, and like in the best case scenario, what you desire. So we're going to go through that list right now. So as I understand it, we always start with the basics, beds and baths. So are you looking for a 3? Don't go. What are you looking for? Are you looking for a 3 or 4 bedroom?
3.
3 bedroom. You need 2, 3. How many baths do you need? 2, 3, or 4?
I prefer 2.5.
So we got a 3, 2.5. Okay, that's pretty standard. Yeah, that's a good. It's going to open us up to quite a few houses. We're going to go over money last. you care if it's a 2-story ranch, what, because again, some people want one level living, some people want 2-story living. But it gets me ready for my next question. Are you looking for a 2-story or a ranch? Ranch with the bonus, okay, ranch with the bonus. But let me ask you this, I found a 2-story with a master down, because obviously that's important to you. Would that work for you as well?
Yes.
All right, so I'm gonna put in the need, I want to put 2-story master down. In the one, I'm gonna put the ranch with bonus. Because she already told me, I really need my master down. That's what she's telling me, I want this ranch. Setting them up, okay, that's all gonna come. So 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, would love to have a ranch with a bonus. Those are coming back. If you know your market history and things like, those are coming back, like they built those 15 years ago, that's coming back, like that's a new trend. One of our best floor plans right now is that. But if I could find you a 2-story with a master down, right? That's all right. What about dining rooms? So dining rooms right now are kind of like weird. Are you want really a formal dining or a formal living? Are you open to the open space living?
I'm open to the open space.
Open space. That's telling me right now, I probably want to ask the next question, which is, do you prefer new construction or existing? New construction. All right. Here's where you can train your. I'm a new construction guy, right? But I did not to be a guy that builds houses. The last house I bought didn't build it. They were not building in the little area I wanted. That's a hell of a deal. I bought it, did some changes in it, made it mine. Right? Building's not for everybody. Crazy, but a builder bought an existing house. So the new construction, I'd have to go buy a lot. It's gonna be miles. I'm 5 minutes from work. It's perfect.
5 years or less, as long as it's been well maintained.
Perfect. So you're really wanting the new EPA standards, newer HVAC system, all that jazz. Perfect. So I'm going to put in the needs 5 years or less, because you really haven't told me what you want. This is going to open it up. All right. So now I know I've got it, and I'm controlling this. We got a 2.5 master down, less than 5 years. So we're getting somewhere right now. Then I'm gonna say, okay, I know you've researched areas. What area do you want to live in? Do you have a school district? Is it school district driven or is it area driven?
Area driven.
Area driven. What area do you want to be in?
I'm pretty flexible. I prefer more of the outskirts of Fayetteville.
All right, how far? Now I already know where you work at. How far from work do you want to be if we want to go out that way?
No more than 30 minutes.
30 minutes. All right. So I'm going to have to go on the MLS and do a map search to find out how many miles with the average mile per hour being 5 miles per hour Fayetteville because of traffic. Find out that 30-mile radius. So I'm going to put that in the need. I'm going to rural 30, no more than 30 minutes from work. Got it? So we're there. She's told me the area, so she doesn't care about school systems in that area. As soon as she says rural, prompts another question. Are you okay with it being septic systems? Because in a rural area, it's septic, which septic systems are great. I grew up on one, but some people just kind of say, no, I would definitely want sewer, or no, I'm open to septic. Or are you open to septic systems?
I'm open.
Perfect. So what does that do? It's broadening my base, and it's also keeping me from having to overcome objections on houses I show. You'd be surprised at how many people show some of my houses, and when I say, okay, here's the spec sheet. Oh, I'm not buying anything on a well. I'm not buying anything on septic. Okay, well, you're going to buy something on septic if you're buying new construction because the municipalities can't keep up with the sewer. They can give you water 9 times out of 10, but they can't keep up with the sewer capacity. The water's easy. Sewer's hard. Sewer's harder to dig. The pumps are so expensive. You have to have gravitational fall. It is tough to put sewer everywhere. So if you get outside of city limits in most places, you're going to be dealing with the septic system. What's the good news about the septic system? You're getting large lots. If I'm in new construction and it's all sewer, understand it's going to be teeny weeny. That developer is going to try to get the most houses in that subdivision. Depends on your UDO. It could be a 10,000 square foot lot, an 8,000 square foot, 12 or 15. Back when I started, you could put a septic system on a 15,000 square foot lot. Now I can't put it on anything in Cumberland less than 30, anything in Johnston less than 40. Wayne County is still at 15,000. That'll change once they start getting more people, which allows for tons of room for your initial system. And if that one fails, you have to repair it. You can go back and forth between those. So it's
Those square footage we get this game. one of those in 4 acre that.
So, can anybody remember in there from their, classes, what an acre is?
I'm just like, ten minutes.
You're low. Oh, 560. There you go. Now, I'm an old guy, and the way the guy taught me 20 years ago, because he was a NASCAR fan, I think y'all would know this. He's like, Richard Petty's number 43. Right? You know that.
Of course, I live 10 miles from it.
All right, so Richard Petty's race car number 43. He said if he drove 56 miles an hour in a 55-mile-per-hour zone, how many cops would give him a ticket? None. I thought it was the cheesiest thing in the world, and I'll never forget that. So 43,560 square feet is an acre. So 20,000 is roughly half, a little less than half an acre. 40,000 is roughly an acre. You know, you get into use that way now. All right, so septic systems, larger lots, right? You said rural, so I know you're wanting a larger lot. You know, you're telling me things. If I know my market, if I have researched my market, if I'm doing my job and diligently every day taking an hour and looking at MLS or learning, you know, if you ain't learning, you ain't learning. I've said that. Learning something about my market, so when my tired, I'm not all of a sudden scrambling trying to learn some stuff, right? You're in the profession. The quickest way for you to lose a deal is ask a question. You go, you don't have to know the answer, but if you know something about the answer, I can say it. You know, I don't know the exact answer to that. I think an acre is like 40,000 square feet. I'll find that out for you, but I think it's around 40,000 square feet. You don't look dumb. You're not done it up. You've given them an answer and you're going to follow the correct answer, right? So they're saying, she knows what she's talking about. She ain't done. All right, so we're still in the needs category. Now I've given myself enough on the needs to ask this question. What's your budget? Are you a monthly or are you an overall budget? If you haven't, if you come talk to me, I've already got you with my lend in your career. I ain't playing that. We're not wasting one single solitary second. You can't buy. Love you, want to incubate you, but you're going to talk to my lender, whoever that is, I'd like to use mine, whatever. My lender, and they're going to say, Kevin, hey, I'll give them pre-approval, they're good as long as they're what they told me they earned is true. I've already done the soft pull on their credit score. We're good, and their employment checks out, we're good to go. We're going to have a conversation. So what's most important to you? Monthly commitments, not payments. Don't say payments. Don't say things like payment, cost. Don't do that. It scares the hell out of everybody. Monthly commitment or overall, what's most important?
Actually, since that would, and you're comfortable with that.
Perfect, 350,000. Is that your like, that is the top of it, or that's where you're comfortable?
There's,
Perfect. The reason I ask that is I'm gonna show you a little above and a little below. Sometimes if you just go, if you tell me 350 is my cap, we don't know it can be 355, your dream house could be there, and I never would have sent it to you. So don't get offended if I send you up to 375 or I send you down to 300. What I'm gonna look for is your range of pricing, but more importantly, what fits with the top. Is that okay? That's perfect. Do what I did there, okay? So I know that I'm looking for a 3, 2.5. I can look for 2-story, biggest thing is master down, rural area, okay with that. She doesn't really care about the school system. She's already pre-approved and she needs to be around 350, but she was stressed a little bit. Right? And I wrote it all down. Let's talk about what you need. So are you thinking like, now this is where you control the conversation. What do you need? Are you like what, like gourmet kitchen, or what are you thinking about? What do you think you need in this house?
you think that I would, it's a porch. I would like an covered patio back.
Okay. Putting that on my knee, your covered porch.
Some large stones,
Large, yeah,
a large stone, so
large volume. Gotcha. All right, so I'm gonna put that in your need. That's it. What is like that one thing you walk in, you're like, holy moly, I don't know if I can get this or not. What is like a desire you always wanted? Is it like a pool or a fixed in yard, or what is this like thing that just, you know, I've seen it on HGTV or DIY. I'd love to have. What is that?
it would be 2,000, around 2,000 square foot ranch home.
That's what you
That's fenced in.
fenced in. So I'll put a fence in, right? She already, now she's telling me, she don't want a huge house. So it's a, she's done all the research. So put that in the desire. Some people say, if someone tells you, I'm looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bedroom ranch with a pool, you stop them and you say, hey, Ranch is not gonna be a problem. Pool, maybe. I'm gonna put the pool in the desire. All right, and then you can see where she goes, okay, so the desire, so the pool is a need, like, you're not going to buy the house without the pool, is that what I'm hearing? So you're setting up standards. Now, some people will say, absolutely not, I'm not buying a house without a pool. Turn. Your price won't say anything.
Question.
Yes,
Okay, so. How possible is it for me to get a new construction with a city?
totally depends, so. It's probably more probable in the city with the smaller lots, to go outside, like you said, you wanted to be kind of rural. Remember, we talked about those lots are large, Cumberland County is at least 30, some of these buildings are 40,000 square feet. Well, right now, because I'm the professional, and I've already researched on fence, wooden fence right now is only cost between $21 and $25 a square foot. White vinyls from your 40, so if we did that math, you're probably talking a minimum of a $10,000 fence, not up to 20,000. So what you're telling me is you need to look at one that already has the fence established or with incentives, is that correct? Yes. All right. So now let's talk about incentives. Tangible. If you have an incentive-based buy, all they're looking for is a deed. That's a difficult buy. Because they can find the house that checks all these boxes, and if they're not getting $20,000 for it, they're not gonna buy it. Right? So I always ask the question, if we're gonna be showing you some new construction, okay? As you said, you were open. So I'm gonna put a couple of existing, I'm gonna put a couple of new construction, a couple of some areas of that. But if the incentive's the most important thing to you, I need to know upfront. Here's why. Incentives go away. 6 months from living in that house, you're gonna probably forget what they gave you. You're gonna be living in it. And you're gonna be more upset that you didn't get the bonus room. Or you didn't get the kitchen you wanted. You were so I just want you to be, it's not my money. I'm not giving you anything towards your mortgage. I promise you, I'm not. I'm going to tell you things like this so that you can just be me. Are you looking for the best deal you can get with incentives, or are you looking for a house that's like asking what I want? Because I'm probably not going to find both, but I need to know where I'm at. Got that? So it's a good way to overcome. Again, if you don't know, like, yeah, people ask for fences all the time in new construction. And if they buy an existing home that doesn't have a fence, what's the first thing they kind of want to do? So call a couple of fence companies, call LM & Sons, call Value Fence, call Basic Fence, and say, hey, what are you charging? I'm a local realtor, and I'm looking for a fence vendor to give to my clients. And I know I can send this to you for a quote once I get a plot plan or I get the dimensions. But for me, what would not get me in trouble by estimate a linear foot? They're going to tell you because they want that business. Then you swing by there, you pick up their business cards, and when someone says, hey, I'm looking for a fence, I got a great relationship with LM & Sons fence company. They've done a couple of fences for me. They quoted a couple. Listen, we'll get a quote on this house so you'll know. Right? That's selling. That's how you sell, right? You're not an order taker. I don't know how much fence is going to cost. You get a quote. Well, why the hell do they need you? Right? Got my sheet. All right, you know, pop around. This bullshit. All right. I'm going to end this with, all right, I'm going to go over this sheet with you, and you're going to sign it. I'm going to tell you why. Because when you leave here, we're not looking at houses here. We're not going blind for the night looking at houses. You know why? Because you can go home and look at any house you want to. You can see video tours, pictures, Google Earth. You've already seen some of these houses. What I'm going to do now is do what I've been trained to do, and I'm very good at. I'm going to narrow these thousands of houses down to about 10 of what you've told, and I'm going to send them to you. And before we go into this, you're going to knock those down to 3 to 4. 3, and then we'll go look at those. We're not going to go drive to 10 houses, 10 shows. We're not going to do that. You're going to get frustrated. I'm going to get frustrated. That's not going to happen. We're going to narrow this list down. And if those 3 or 4 doesn't match, we'll find that you're not going to go look at 20 houses. You know, people come in their PCS and I have an agent, I call them and say, hey, you need help? Let them know. I'm showing 22 houses. No, you're not. No, you're not. You've not done your job. Let them control it. You can't show 20 houses. You can't show 10 houses in a day. They're going to run together like you've never seen before. They're going to put this kitchen with that living room, this backyard, this bonus room, and this location with this actual. They're going to get so confused, and they're going to be tired and hungry and miserable. If they've got kids with them, they're going to be angry. They're going to fight amongst themselves. They're going to be calling their mom and dad between the visits and asking for opinions. Don't do it. You cannot show, in my opinion, this ain't the gospel, more than 5 I like three. I like three because the first three I show you are gonna tell me more about what you want, right? People don't view houses to go, that's the one I want. They view houses to say, take that one off the list. They don't go in and go, oh, where's the offer? I love this. They don't do that. They trash the hell out of it. And then when they show their friends trash the hell out of it. But that's what we do as people. We find the negative in anything. We can't find the positive. We can't be happy for somebody. Can't be happy for you, but you gotta know that. It's stupid, but that's just who we are. The quicker you deal with it, the more you realize. So I'm gonna go down this list with you. You told me that you're looking for a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath house. Obviously, if I find a 3-bed bath house, that's great. You really want a ranch with a bonus room, but you're okay with a 2-story master down, is that correct? You really want a covered, you've told me you love your covered bird porch. I'm assuming you like to sit on your porch, mornings and evenings, great, right? That's important. You told me also that your max budget after speaking is not 350. That's kind of where you want to be. And I told you I'm going to go a little higher and lower. Don't ever, as a realtor, not search higher and lower. A lot of people, when they say I'm 300,000, that's what they search for. So a lot of good houses, $25,000 to $30,000 below that, and a lot of houses, $25,000 or $30,000 above that. Don't make that decision for your client, right? But you have to ask the question: is that the ceiling, right? Is that the ceiling? And then if you have a relationship with a mortgage company, they're not going to give you personal information, but they're going to say, hey, that's where they need. And because you also don't want to show them if that's their max, you show them a $400,000 house, every $350,000 house they don't look at looks like trash to them. Understand that. I just showed them so they know what they cannot get. What are you doing? What are you showing them? They're approved to 350. They told you that's the max they can go. Why are you showing 360? You show them 400. Listen, in this market, $50,000 is a lot. You go look at my 309 really nice houses, because we put a lot of stuff in it. Stuff we put in our houses now upgrades 10 years ago. You're getting granite. You're getting quartz counter. I got a $279,000, which we call our entry level product. It's got granite countertops. It's going to have LVP Terrace States in the floor. It's going to have a little stone on the front of the house. It's going to have quartz countertops in the bathroom. That was all laminate countertops back 10 years ago. Now it's granite quartz standard. That's expensive. Anyway, you can get, but if you should go and show them, if you go up and show them this place called Abingdon in Johnston County that starts 470 to 520, they're going to feel so bad about themselves and so bad about what they're purchasing. We've all had a first house. We've all had a first house or working towards a first house. My first house was $119,000. And I love that house today, still more than any house I've ever had. And I like to change houses, I like to do some equity stuff, right? I love that little house. It took me things I had to do to make it livable though. They're tough. Pull that off for it. Don't take them to what they want to be at one day. Take them to what they are now. Let them be okay with it. That is great. That is another conversation. You told me that kind of on your needs, like we talked about, you need that ranch, that'd be where you kind of want to be. But your desire is a fenced in backyard. You're a very easy client. Some of these clients are going to have, they watch HGTV much, they're asking you for things that you just like. Don't tell them they're stupid, but tell them they're stupid. You can tell somebody they're stupid without telling them. You come to me like, if you told me that you needed at $200,000 a gourmet kitchen with double ovens, I'm going to say, I'm going to do everything in my power. Fine. But I'm a professional. I know this market like the back of my hand. I'm going to put this in the desire category because this price point, it really doesn't exist. It really only exists in the 500 and above. I'm going to put that down. Acknowledge their feelings. You kind of like that. Acknowledge their feelings, but they're stupid, right? Same thing my wife does to me. I know, maybe I got you, but she still knows I'm stupid. She's still not gonna do things that are stupid. All right. Do you agree with this? Everything we wrote down on your needs, wants, and desires. You also said that if you found everything that on this list tomorrow, you'd be willing to put an offer in as long as it met your budget. Is that correct? All right. I'm gonna have you sign a name. I'm gonna tell you why. Because if we can start looking at this, and I'm going to find houses based upon what you told me, right? I'm going to print copies out of this every house we look at, and we're going to review what you told me. So this is your time to be honest with me. Is this list correct?
Yes, that's
All right. We're gonna sign it, and that's how I'm gonna start. I'm gonna tell you, that's how I'm gonna start my search. And I'm gonna start, so I gave myself 24 hours. Give me 24 hours. I'm gonna find these houses, and I'm gonna send you 10, and I'm gonna ask you to cut it down, whatever feels good with you. Sometimes I find cutting it down to 3 is hard, especially if you're a newer agent and you've not practiced a lot of this. Give them 5. And then say, cut it down to 5, but give me the 3 you want to see first. All right. You're really cutting it to 3, but you're not putting that pressure on taking 10 to 3. That's hard. Cut half of it out, right? Now, what am I going to do with it? I'm going to sign it, I'm going to shake hands, I'm going to thank them, I'm going to remind them, remember, before they leave, remember, I'm going to do this as quickly as possible because understand the quicker this happens, the more pleasurable it's going to be. We don't want it to drag out. But remember what I said at the first of our conversation. You got to be honest with me. I'll be honest with you. If I send you something that's 100% wrong, don't be mean to me, call me bad nature, let me know, Kevin, that's not the direction we're going here for. We have to be honest. In return, I'm going to be honest with you. Can we agree with that? All right, that's all we want anyway, right? That's all we want anyway. Send them on your own. 24 hours later, send them 10. Ask them to cut it to 5 with your top 3, right? Set those 3 showings up. Print, cut sheet, whatever you want to, whatever they've done. Call the listing agent, get all the information you possibly can. Look in transaction manager. If it's not in there, ask them for it. Go prepared. They new homes, they'll probably have a plot plan. They'll have a survey. It's different. They'll have a plot plan. They'll have a septic layout. They'll have selection sheets. If they don't, come to JSJ, we do. Take all that with you because my agents will send it to you, right? Harder on an existing, right? So I would always recommend if I was a listing agent, get a survey done, mainly because we want to see if any encroachments are happening or all that jazz. Get all the information you can. Either meet at the house, drive, whatever's comfortable to you, right? Meet there, send them the information, show them. When you show up at the house, there's a way of showing house, cut through the buyer bullshit, right? First of all, you better research that house. Look through the pictures. Know what looks like crap. Look at the home inspection that they've done. Look at the property disclosure statement. Know what's good. Know what's bad. Know that, and take your list that we just did, and you highlight in yellow what it has, and you line through what it doesn't have in red. Do not send that to them early. Give that to them when they get there. I printed you off the cut sheets. So you can kind of review as you go through the house. I've also put their needs, wants, and desire sheets on top of here, which you and I went over last week or 3 days ago, whatever it was, just so you can remember what my criteria was for this search. And all you're going to do is you're going to say, hey, this one we're looking at is a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath. It's the 2-story with a master down. So that's kind of checking that box off. But it's got a really nice back porch that you talked about having coffee in the mornings. And it's got a large backyard. It's not fenced in, but we don't take anything off the books. Like we wanted to look at this house. So what I didn't find in this one, admit your faults. I didn't get the ranch with the bonus on there, and it's not fenced in, but it checks everything else out. So that's why I sent it to you. And probably why you chose it as one of your top 3, right? Then you open the door and you let them go in. Let them go in. Let them go in. Don't lead them through the house on an existing. You lead them through the house on a new. We'll get to that on the differences. On an existing, open the door and let them in. Stay in the same room with them. Don't be in front of them on an existing. Be behind them. Look for body language, communication, hand holding. They're looking around. Look for this. Look for the dejection. You can read them like DPA. Doctors feel their ass. You're watching them. If they walk in and he's doing this in the kitchen and he's doing this in the living room, they're loving the house. Then you're telling them behind it, this is the kitchen. You've already looked at the pictures. It's a galley style kitchen. Be the pro. It's a galley style kitchen. What do I mean by galley style kitchen? Kind of like a shotgun. You go in, your kitchen's on both sides. Really easy to work with. It's kind of an older style. People love it because it's easily accessible. This is an open kitchen. It opens into the living room. It's great to entertain. You can be in the kitchen doing anything and people are never far away from you. Be the pro. Give them information. Don't open the door and shut up. They can do that with anybody. Your communication creates their communication. They're going to tell you, I know we didn't talk about it, but I don't like that galley kitchen. I did not know that. I'm going to, no galley kitchen. Write that on that sheet. Give me your sheet. No galley kitchen. Let's look at the rest of it. Why do I say that? Because if I walk on that back porch and she goes, you're gonna say, hey, what's better than this or the galley kitchen? She may go, I can deal with that galley kitchen because this view, I want this view. Perfect. You're overcoming objections. You're overcoming objections. So we look at the house. Before we leave the house, this is the speech I give. Every time I showed a house, and I showed a bunch, listen, back in the day, people would drive through, you had 20, 25 people a day drive through, and 24 of them tire kickers. You just never knew. Because back then you didn't get pre-approvals. Back then you didn't have to sign the disclosure. And people knew that, so they would come out and you talk about turning keys. So I had to develop, this is why I developed this. Because I got tired of talking with people, and then all of a sudden I see them in my office over at ERA buying a house with Mary Jo. What the hell? So a couple of times that and all done. So before I would leave the house, I would say, all right, I'm getting ready to ask you a question. If we look at 10 houses over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to ask you every single time. And I want you to understand why. I'm going to ask you, do you want to put an offer in on this house? Say this is the first house, and here's why. I know you've heard all the selling. The house you looked at today and want to decide on tomorrow. It's the house somebody looked at yesterday and going to buy today. I know you've heard that. I've been in this business long enough to know that happens every single day. It is your decision, but I'm going to ask you every time. And I have an offer to purchase. I don't care about dodgy sign and all that stuff. I have one. I write that son of a gun on a kitchen counter if they are ready to do it. I want them to know I am serious about this. I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go home and I'm going to write this offer up. It's going to take me 5 hours, but I'm going to go write this off. And then I'm going to DigiSign it to you. Here's what I want you to do in those 5 hours. This is what you're telling them. Call your mom, call your dad, call your friends, and tell everybody you're buying a house. Do that so that they can come in and go, you're stupid. The rates are too high. Why would you do that for me? That's what you're saying when you leave these people. Sorry. Did you sign it later? Hey, listen, I'll put this digital format. What else do you buy that you don't take ownership of when you sign a contract? I mean, take out ordering a piece of furniture that wasn't a pandemic. You buy a car, you take it home that day. You buy life insurance, it's effective immediately. You go buy a piece of furniture, they're setting up your delivery date. You do not own that house. You sign for it, you take mental ownership. 30, 45, 60, 120, whatever your days is, that's when you take physical ownership. Nothing else, you do that all. So if you don't get them having mental ownership, their family and friends who have bought houses, who've already done this, I'm going to tell you what a shitty idea it is to buy a house. I'm just calling you to see you say congratulations. Don't get in my damn business, but they're going to. I've got an offer here. And I'm going to ask you every single time, do you want to put an offer on this house? And don't answer me, just listen. Here's why. It's because if you call me tomorrow and say, 314 is the house we want, great, I'm going to get these documents over to you. And I go to the MLS to show a pending, you're not going to be mad that it's sold. You're going to be mad at me that I didn't write the offer. It's going to happen. Whether you love me to death or not, you're going to be upset. So I'm just asking. You tell me no all you want to, but I'm going to ask in every single house. Do you want to put an offer on this house? Are they going to say yes? Probably not on the first one. They may. It happens. If you're in the business long enough, they will. You'll eventually have 5% that do it. But what are you doing? You're setting up an expectation that we're not out here to look at houses. I'm asking you to buy this thing. Mm-hmm. So if they come out and before we leave, so they say no. All right. Are we going to keep this on the list or do you not want it? We don't want it. Take the cut sheet back from them. Wad it up. Find the trash can in the kitchen and throw it away. Wad the silicone up and throw it away. And they're going to be like, I said, that one's out of your head. I don't want you to remember the backyard, the porch, I don't want you to remember anything about this house. This house is gone. We good on that? Perfect. If they say no, you're going, what are we doing? Selling it. Overcoming objections. They need to see physically that that's gone. DPA. All right. Next house is 10 minutes from here. I'm going to go ahead and give this one to you so you can discuss it on the way over there. Here's what I'd like for exercise for you to do on our. Why am I doing this? So they don't call everybody and their mother or start talking negatively. Like, I don't know what she's thinking about doing. I mean, this house wasn't anything we talked about. Give them an exercise. What I want you to do now that we looked at this first house, I'm going to give you this sheet for the next one on the notes right there. kind of tell me what you liked and didn't like about that house, because if we don't find your house today, that's gonna help me find your house tomorrow. Give them something to do, to talk about for the next house. Don't leave them in silence. Don't do that. And as soon as you get this, hey, don't ask them later, "Hey, did you get that done for me?" Because they may come up and say, "I don't want this, this, or this." You're like, well, shoot, 5 of those items are in this house. I am screwed, right? You're finding out to take 4,200 listings in our marketplace down to one. It's a big ask. You're trying to get them one. Go in the next house, do the same thing. Do the same thing. All right, why do we do this? Setting our standard, we're setting our expectations, we're setting everything. How am I on time?
Over.
Over. All right.
I'm so into it that I was.
Sorry.
I knew.
I'll give you 5 minutes. I understand like this. I get passionate about this because this changed my life. What I'm telling you changed my life. Where I'm at now as a 50-year-old man and where I was as a 30-year-old man is not the same place. And it's because I did these things, I did them consistently, and I did them better than anybody else. And I didn't listen to anything. I didn't listen to how the market said it's going to be, how the rate said they were going to be. I didn't listen to anybody. I didn't know no damn better. All I know is I came down here, I quit my job because the guy was doing shady things. I had a wife and 3 kids. We're in the middle of Fayetteville. We live in the mountains of Virginia where it's never 104 degrees and never humid. My wife's looking at me going, "What the hell have you brought me to? This is too hot." My kids go outside, come back in 5 minutes, wringing wet sweat, looking at me like, "What have you done?" We left our family, we left our friends. This changed my life. So I get passionate and I go. So here's what you do with this sheet. Let's say you look at 10 houses on this sheet and they still haven't put an offer in. You think they're frustrated? Are you frustrated? Yeah. Time is money. I don't want to put a value on your time, but I'll tell you this. This is a very conceited thing to say. I value my time. My time is worth a lot of money. Not because of me, but because of things that I love. I love my wife. I love my children. I want to spend as much. That's the only in this life. That's I promise you. The things that matter to me most are the things that I have out. There's 4 people there that I would do anything for, and I mean anything. So anytime I get a chance to be with them, it is the most precious time in the world. So if I can get 1 hour a night with my 18-year-old, if I can go, so I'm going tonight to watch my oldest son play restaurant and play music up at Panger. I get it for an hour and a half. I'm driving 2 hours for an hour and a half. Don't tell me my time is not precious, and you're not going to waste my damn time. I promise you that. If you can't afford my time, you kick bricks. I feel. Always felt that way. Not because of me, but because of things I love. Really, it's the people. I'm going to take that sheet. We're going to meet. We go through 10 of these, and you haven't. We are not. I mean, we're not moving. When I'm talking about we're not moving, we're not moving. I'm not finding you anything different. You're not progressing. We're just like, and I can tell you're getting frustrated. I'm bringing you back to the same place we first met. Calling a meeting. We're going to meet back in this house. Going to go. Frustrated? Yeah, I know. And I don't want this to be a frustrating experience. It's frustrating for me. It's frustrating for you. Your time's important. My time's important. We've talked about that plenty of times. I really don't think I'm doing a good job. So I'll pull the sheet out and say, this is the sheet you signed the first day we met, correct? And I found you 10 houses that meet 90. I'm not showing you houses that don't meet any of these. I'm showing you that 90% of this, and nothing is moving the dial with you moving closer to an offer to purchase. This is going to get so miserable for us. So I got to ask the question, what is it? Did I do something wrong, or is there something not on this sheet? Because we need to reevaluate. What are you not telling me? Because I've told you everything. What are you not telling me? You got it. It's a hard conversation to have. It's easier to send them 10 more listings, 10 more listings, 10 more listings. It's easy to go show them 10 more houses, 10 more houses, 10 more houses. They're not going to call you back when they're ready to sell. They're going to be miserable. They're going to hate it, or they're going to fire you. Bring the sheet back out, use their words against it. And they're going to probably tell you things like, what my house I got to have the ranch with the bones. I don't care about anything else. I want to be inside the city. I changed my mind. You're going to have to use their words against them. You were in the meeting last year, and I promise you this. If I showed a buyer more than 20 houses and they didn't buy, we're separated. It's a bad relationship. If I'm not, I've got to look at myself and go, did I do my job on those 20? Because I'm showing them in 3 to 5 increments. So let's say you do it in 5 increments, which is a lot to ask of a real estate agent. They don't think so, right? They have no idea. They think, if anybody can do it, well, then come do it. Come do it. Come not get paid for 4 months at a time. Come on. Come on, oh, you're making this much money. Yeah, this is the first one I've closed in 90 days. Thank you. Appreciate it. They don't know, right? If I'm showing them in 5 increments, that's 4 showings. That's not 4 showings usually in 4 consecutive days, right? That's 4 showings over probably 3 weeks. That's 3 weeks of your time. Let's say those 5 showings a day takes you 6 hours on Saturday or Sunday. Let's say that's 6 hours times what? 4 out of that 20? That's 24 hours. You spend a full day, half of a work week with one set of clients and you not move that deal. It's either your fault or their fault. It's your job to figure out why, and that sheet will figure it out. Because I will tell you in a skinny minute, I'll say, I am not doing my job. And I'm hands off on Bill Snugs. And Bill's going to start this thing in trash because I've not done my job. Or you tell me, well, here's the deal. I've been saying, you weren't honest with me. Now let's get honest because I'm trying to find you this house. We're afraid to do it. We're afraid to do it, but you have to do it. I'm not telling you to take that word for word. I'm going to put Bill on the spot. Bill, do I not live by this?
Yes, you do.
Every day. Sometimes a buyer needs to be told no. Sometimes a seller needs to be told no. You're told no all the damn time. How many no's do y'all hear the real estate agent? More than yes, I tell you that. It's a depressing industry with no's. No's don't mean nothing to me. I expect no. No does not faze me. No, 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 no. It's like peanuts. Teacher, want. I don't care. No, 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 whatever. Then why are you showing houses? Why are you looking at my houses? Where's the negativity? These agents that come out there and think that they're going to bully up and say, well, that buyer, how do you know what your damn buyer wants? You don't speak for your buyer. You're causing the problem. Don't be the problem. Be the solution. Overcome objections. You walk in the kitchen and there are problems with the paint. Hell, I think the damn thing was that. It's a $600,000 house. It will be painted. It will be painted.
He fixed those address numbers.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's stupid stuff that has nothing to do with us. I promise you, this, if you set the standard and stay the standard, and I know it's hard when you haven't sold one in a while, you're sitting across from someone, they signed the agency agreement, they signed the commission agreement, you're setting up showings, and you're like, and it's pressure, right? If you treat it like money, they're going to act like money, they're going to leave. Don't treat it transaction. Treat it like I'm telling you. Treat it like you want to. And I promise you, it will take a while, but I promise you, you will see your clientele get better. You'll see you feeling better about business. You'll see you track your days. How many days for you to put anybody under contract? It's taking you 140 days. You're doing it wrong. 60 days. That's great. 30 days is really good. 2 weeks. That'd be my goal. 2 weeks from the time we talk on that A buy. I'm ready to buy. 2 to 3 weeks, you're cooking with Crisco. What are they waiting on? If they come and tell you, I'm not buying this against a 5.9, B buyer, all right, gotcha. Totally understand that. I'm gonna put you on, I'm gonna send you the emails every week. I'm gonna watch these rates like a hawk. I'm gonna call my guy. I'm gonna try to find a house for you that will buy it down to 5.9. That work if I buy it down to 5? All these things that people say you should do that are old and antiquated, like sales tactics. Oh, I'm not a salesman. You're gonna starve. ABC, what does it stand for? Always be closing. It worked in the 20s, it's working today. I pick up the phone and just call your gate person, call this agent, call her up, had a conversation, an open and honest conversation. I said, if I do this, will they buy it? She said, yes. Then it's done. She just got silent. It doesn't have to be that hard. Now, if I couldn't do it, I'd say no, and she's got to go find them, right? So I know that's a lot to put on you guys. I'm very passionate about it. I'm very passionate about this process. I've taught this to apartments, I taught car salesmen, needs, wants, desires. That's only. Tell me why you buy anything other than those 3 reasons. You need stuff. I need groceries. I need food. I need clothes. I need transportation. I want a filet. Right? I want designer clothing. All right. I want a BMW. You know what I like to have? I like to have a mansion. I like to be driving a range. Everybody has those categories, right? That's the only reason you do it. You use it, you're not using it against them, you're using it for them. So, anybody have any questions? Yes, ma'am.
I was just wondering, like, as a realtor, like, there are buyers that object to like wells. That's been like one of the biggest, like, it's
Speak up.
Wells.
well,
All right, let me tell you about wells. So I grew up on a well. You know, we didn't have water back in Stickleydale. The testing that has to happen for a well to pass for a CO is more stringent than the testing PWC has to adhere to. We test for 12 forever chemicals, pH indicators, iron, bacteria. It is crazy the testing we have to go through. PWC water and well water, if you tested in good well water side by side, PWC additives are so much worse with the chlor, but you can't tell about this, right? But think of the chemicals they have to add to get, it ain't new water. Let's just be honest. Here comes the science out of it. Where does the water come from? Your toilet. I mean, we're talking about people that's like upset about, well, my toilet water is right down here. It's going to be processed for about a week and it's going to end up in your faucet. How does it happen? Different ways: gravitational, filtration, chemical. Chemicals they had to make this water potable. There's just a hard argument of that in these wells. The well testing we have to do. So forever chemicals. Let's talk about that. Gen X. The amount of water that a person would have to drink to have a physical, and I get, if I had Gen X, I don't want my stuff filtered. Don't, I'm not saying it. But the facts are the micro, nano stuff that they detect and say you got to put a filtration system on this will never affect you in your lifetime. Never, never, never. Now let's say that they're detected. You get it above a certain one, it's so stringent, like, yeah, if it's high, I got you. Never test it for nothing. If it gets tested, the more sets to come in. Put a filtration system on your house. Because they have the warranty and guarantee and provide you filter for 20 years. Hell yeah, I can test it for forever. But this water is going to be cleaner than any water I ever get. Filtration system off the charts. So we had a well that just came back last week with a high pH. These people already moved in. Say that high pH. It's a filtration system. It's all it is. We consistently test the water. You can't overcome fear. If you've been on a well, you can care less. Lived on a well for 18 years. Well, shared a well with my grandparents and my uncle and his family, one well, right? If my cousin Daniel was showering, we weren't, you know what I'm saying? At a party night, hey, we're gonna be using the shower through. It just wasn't enough water. But the minerals and things that come in it are so good, but you can't tell it. Then all of a sudden, they'll sue your ass. So what I would say is, I suggest you do your own research on this, man. But I promise you, if you Google it, the testing that the well water has to go through from the county and the state, it's more stringent than BWC water that you can get inside the city. Guarantee that. Because it is. That's true. And if anything's detected, get the filtration system on. Because it has to be like, it is so strict. Now, I don't do a lot of wells. I do wells that builds that. You know, there's pros and cons. There's pros and cons to crawl spaces versus slabs. You know, there's pros and cons to that. Sometimes you can't overcome that objection. You know, but that's also why houses 279 and not 309. Because when we attach to the city, lots are more expensive. You have to pay what's called FIA fees, which are tap fees. So the city charges about $7,000 just to hook up to their water sewer. So that's why the house is so, you know, what do you want? You know, and again, the knowledge will help you probe with other objections. That makes sense? Any other questions? I know it's a lot. You ever want to call me? I don't mind. I love talking about this stuff because I hate seeing bad agents. Didn't bring any cards, but it's 910-309-0119. If you ever have a client that's kind of, I don't care if it's my house, listing house, and other builders, I don't care. I'll help. I'll give you advice. 910-309-0119. I'm approaching, I'll be approaching 5,000, as she said, probably next year. I've seen it all. I've screwed it up. I've been successful with it. I know what to say, what not to say. I can help you with, you know, finding out if it's an objection or reason. I couldn't give you an hour every day. I just couldn't do that, but I can help you. I'll find that at all. Yes, ma'am.
Just curious, are there any people that you, or types of people that you meet with first time in your life, that you like to work?
The biggest, the hardest people to deal with are families. You know, you got people that are excited about buying a house. They're the joy to deal with. They understand, they're educated, they're easy. That's getting on. It's a gold unicorn. What I've had the hardest time dealing with is, let's say it's a couple, they brought their mom or their dad or their brother. I've actually told people, and again, they'll tell you, I will look you in the eye if you're the dad or mom and say, sorry, I, I should have added you to these emails and on this sheet. I didn't know you were going to help them financially with this house, so you probably should help them with decisions. And they're going to go, oh, I'm not doing anything with this house. Oh, sorry, I just assumed because you were like telling them what they need to be. I'm sorry. I have. I have. I ain't got time for that. I ain't got time for that. I had a guy come in one time on my house and he was trashing their cabinets. So I tell you what, sir, I did not know you were buying this house for your daughter and son. I didn't know that. I'm sorry. So do I need to explain the cabinets to you? And again, I'm not getting, my head bobbing. I don't mean this. I promise you, I don't mean this in a bad way. It's probably going to come out wrong. I promise. I just didn't know you were buying the house. I didn't see that. I didn't know you were helping financially on this. So let me get the cabinet information used because you said they were trashed or censored. Let me get the cabinet information. He's back. Well, I'm not sure help. Then shut up. And I'll be honest with you. Sometimes I'm on the phone with them. I'll say, Bill, dad don't like that house. Maybe we should buy it. Maybe we should like because he just doesn't like anything I've shown you. Can't tell him to keep your dad to the curb. I can't tell you you're stupid, but I can say things like, listen, you want to make a good financial decision, don't you? You don't want to make a bad financial decision. So it's best for me to find your house under $350,000, even though you said you could afford more, you told me you didn't want to. So we need to stay under 350. Is that correct? So I'm not going to send you anything over $350,000. That just doesn't make sense. Don't be a dumbass to go over $350,000. I just told you that, but I didn't tell you that, right? You love this house, right? And the only thing that's keeping you from buying this house is you want $5,000 more to buy blinds and fence, right? Is that correct? But you love this house, right? So 5 years from now, after paying the fence and stuff, if you live in this house, you enjoy it, correct? But the house that has the fence and the blinds, you don't like as much, correct? Why are we buying it? Tell them, what you say, nice, because, I don't mind calling you dumbass, but I'm not, you know what I mean? And that's what you're dealing with. You're dealing with dumb people. Not on purpose, not intellectual. They are educated by the wrong sources. They're being educated by the companies that's making that have nothing to do with it. They're being educated by people that are buying your information. And they just hold it at this standard. It's like, it's not. I don't care what difficult conversations you make. I don't care. But you gotta bring it in. So hardest families. Hardest is families. Also the hardest sometimes is to keep my mouth shut with people making bad financial decisions on the house. My problem, I was in the car business. I'd see somebody come in, buy a $30,000 car, and I've seen their bills, I've seen their credit report, and I'm like, you don't need to be looking at the Nissan Maxima. You need to be looking at the Nissan Sentra. And I would tell them, that's the one thing my mom saying for others. Yeah. I don't want it. You need to go down to the house and see anybody. I don't know what I said. You don't know what's in there. It's going to really affect your family. Anybody else? All right, sorry I took so long. Well,